Imagine walking into a grocery store after work. You're tired, hungry. Maybe you've had a long day. You grab a bottle of water for $2. Then you notice another drink sitting right beside it. It looks better. Better packaging, better flavor, better marketing. It costs $12. You hesitate for a second. Then you think, it's only $10 more. So you buy it. The cashier hands you the receipt, and you walk out of the store without another thought. Nothing dramatic happened. No alarms went off. No one stopped you. Your bank account barely changed. It was just $10. Or was it? Because what if that wasn't a $10 decision at all? What if that single moment silently erased hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars from your future? Now imagine making that same decision tomorrow, and the day after that, and again next week, month after month, year after year. Most people believe wealth is built through giant financial decisions: buying a house, starting a business, landing a six-figure salary, making the perfect investment. Those moments matter, but they aren't where financial lives are usually won or lost. The truth is much stranger. Your future is quietly shaped by thousands of decisions so small that your brain doesn't even register them as important. That's the real danger. Because people pay attention when they're about to spend $50,000. They almost never pay attention when they're about to spend 10. And that's exactly why those tiny decisions become so powerful. Your brain was never designed to think 30 years into the future. It evolved to survive today. If something makes life easier right now, more comfortable, more exciting, your brain rewards you immediately. The future version of you doesn't get a vote. The result? You slowly trade tomorrow's freedom for today's convenience. Not because you're irresponsible, not because you're bad with money, but because your brain naturally discounts the future. Psychologists call this present bias. It's one of the most expensive mental shortcuts humans have. Imagine two versions of yourself standing in front of you. One is today's version. The other is you 25 years from now. Today's version says, let's enjoy the extra $10 worth of comfort. Future you quietly whispers, I'd rather have financial freedom. The problem is, only one of them gets to make the decision. And it's almost always today's version. Here's what makes this even more dangerous. Most people believe wealth is about income. They assume the highest earners automatically become the wealthiest. If that were true, everyone with a high salary would eventually become financially independent. But that's not what happens. Every year, countless people earn impressive incomes, yet remain trapped. They upgrade their cars, upgrade their apartments, upgrade their wardrobes, upgrade their vacations. Every raise becomes permission to spend a little more. Their lifestyle expands just as fast as their paycheck. From the outside, they look successful.
No.
Inside, they're running faster on the same treadmill. Because wealth isn't measured by how much money passes through your hands. It's measured by how much stays working for you. That's a completely different game. Imagine two neighbors. Both earn exactly the same salary. Both receive identical raises. Both live in similar homes. From the outside, they're almost impossible to tell apart. But every single week, one neighbor spends an extra $10 on tiny upgrades, a premium coffee instead of regular, express shipping instead of waiting, impulse purchases because they deserve it. Nothing outrageous, just small upgrades that feel harmless. The other neighbor pauses before every unnecessary expense and asks one question. Is this purchase making my life permanently better, or only temporarily more comfortable? Sometimes they still spend the money, sometimes they don't. But that one question slowly changes everything. Years pass, then decades. Eventually, their financial lives no longer look anything alike. Not because one earned dramatically more, not because one discovered a secret investment, but because one person unknowingly built habits that produced assets, while the other built habits that produced expenses. This is where most financial advice goes wrong. People argue over budgets, investment strategies, interest rates, tax tricks. Those things matter, but they come later. Before money ever enters your investment account, it passes through your decision-making process, and if that process is flawed, no investment can completely fix it. Think of your financial life like a river. Most people spend their time trying to collect more water downstream. They work longer hours, chase promotions, take second jobs, but they ignore the dozens of tiny leaks near the source. Every unnecessary purchase, every impulsive decision, every forgotten subscription, every upgrade that adds little lasting value. Each leak seems insignificant. Together, they quietly redirect an entire river. This is why two people earning the exact same income can end up living completely different retirements. One eventually owns time. The other continues selling it. And neither outcome was decided by one dramatic event. It was decided by thousands of moments that looked almost identical to buying a drink that cost $10 more. Here's the question almost nobody asks. If every dollar has the potential to become something much larger in the future, then what is the real price of spending it today? That's where this story becomes surprising. Because the real cost isn't $10. It isn't even $100. Under the right conditions, that tiny decision can quietly grow into something approaching $1 million. Not through magic, not through luck, but through one of the most misunderstood forces in personal finance. A force so powerful that most people experience it every day, without ever realizing whether it's working for them or against them. Most people think money grows in a straight line. You save $100. Now you have $100. You save another 100. Now you have 200. Simple, logical, completely wrong. Because money doesn't become powerful when it grows. It becomes powerful when it starts growing by itself. And that's the difference almost everyone misses. Imagine planting a single apple tree. The first year, it gives you apples. That's nice. But imagine those apples contain seeds. You plant those seeds. Now you don't have one tree, you have several. A few years later, every one of those trees starts producing more apples and even more seeds. Eventually, you're no longer harvesting apples from one tree. You're harvesting from an entire orchard. Money works in almost exactly the same way. At first, your dollars are the workers.
All
Then
right,
one
everyone,
day,
let's get to work.
your dollars start hiring more dollars. And once that happens, growth begins to accelerate. The strange part is that it doesn't feel impressive in the beginning. Imagine two fictional friends. Ethan and Daniel are both 25 years old. They earn the same salary, live in the same city, pay roughly the same rent. Neither is wealthy. Neither inherited money. The only difference between them is one tiny habit. Every weekday, Ethan spends an extra $10 on things that make today a little easier. A premium coffee, food delivery instead of cooking, convenience purchases, impulse upgrades, nothing extravagant. Daniel enjoys those things too, but not every day. Instead, he quietly sets that $10 aside, not because he's obsessed with saving, not because he wants to deprive himself, because he understands something most people don't. Every dollar has two prices. The first price is printed on the receipt. The second price is invisible. It's everything the dollar could have become if it had continued working. Most people only see the receipt. Wealthy thinkers see the future. Now let's fast forward. 1 month passes, nothing changes. 1 year passes. Still almost nothing. In fact, Ethan probably feels smarter. He's enjoyed hundreds of small comforts. Daniel, his sacrifice doesn't seem worth it. This is the stage where most people quit, because humans naturally expect effort to produce immediate results. When it doesn't, we assume the strategy doesn't work. That's one of the biggest financial mistakes people make. They judge long-term systems using short-term expectations. Imagine pushing a giant flywheel. The first push barely moves it. The second push feels almost pointless. The 10th push still doesn't seem impressive. If you stopped there, you'd conclude the wheel is too heavy. But something is happening. Every push adds momentum. Eventually, the exact same effort suddenly produces dramatic movement. The wheel isn't responding because your latest push was magical. It's responding because every previous push finally accumulated enough force. Money behaves the same way. In the early years, growth is almost invisible. Then something remarkable happens. Your investments begin earning returns. Those returns start earning their own returns. Then those returns begin producing even more returns. Now, your original dollars aren't working alone anymore. They're bringing friends. This is the moment people often call money-making money. But that phrase barely captures what's actually happening. What's really happening is multiplication, and multiplication changes everything. Think about building a snowball. The first handful of snow barely sticks together. It doesn't look impressive, but as it rolls downhill, every rotation collects more snow. The bigger it becomes, the more snow it gathers with every turn. Eventually, the snowball grows faster simply because it's already large. The same principle applies to wealth. The hardest part isn't becoming rich. The hardest part is reaching the point where growth begins accelerating on its own. That's why many people spend years feeling like they're making no progress, right before progress becomes obvious. Unfortunately, most people quit just before that moment arrives. Not because they lack discipline, because they mistake slow progress for no progress. Now let's return to Ethan and Daniel. Every day, the difference between them still feels tiny. $10. Some days even less. If you asked either of them after 6 months who was winning financially, neither would notice much difference. That's how opportunity cost hides. It doesn't arrive as a bill. It arrives as a future that never happens. You never receive a notification saying, "Congratulations, the money you spent today would have become $50,000. Life doesn't work that way. The future simply changes quietly, without announcing what could have been. This is why opportunity cost is one of the most expensive concepts people never fully understand. When you buy something, you're not just spending money. You're spending every future version of that money. Imagine handing someone a single acorn. Most people see an acorn. A long-term thinker sees hundreds of future oak trees, thousands of future acorns, entire forests hiding inside something small enough to fit in your hand. Money works the same way. A dollar isn't just a dollar. It's a tiny financial seed. Sometimes planting that seed is the smarter decision. Sometimes enjoying life today is absolutely worth it. The goal isn't to eliminate spending. The goal is to recognize that every purchase competes against your future. Not every purchase wins that competition. Not every purchase deserves to. Here's where everything changes. Most people ask, "Can I afford this?" Wealth builders ask a different question. What am I giving up by buying this? Those questions sound almost identical. They're not. The first protects your bank account today. The second protects your financial future, and over decades. That tiny difference in thinking quietly separates people who constantly work for money from people whose money eventually starts working for them. But there's still one mystery left. If the math is so powerful, why don't more people naturally make better financial decisions? Why do intelligent, hard-working people repeatedly choose short-term comfort over long-term wealth, even when they know better? The answer has very little to do with money. It has everything to do with how the human brain is wired. And once you understand that hidden psychological battle, you'll never look at spending the same way again. Here's a strange question. If almost everyone knows they should save more, invest earlier, and avoid unnecessary spending, why do so few people actually do it? The answer isn't laziness. It isn't a lack of intelligence. And it certainly isn't because people don't want financial freedom. The real reason is much deeper. Every financial decision you make is actually a psychological decision first. Money only enters the picture afterward. Imagine your brain as having two different voices. The first voice is ancient. It evolved thousands of years ago when survival depended on immediate rewards. Find food. Eat now. Stay warm. Take the safest option. Don't worry about next year. Worry about today. That voice is still living inside your head. The second voice is much newer. It's the planner, the strategist. The version of you that dreams about retiring early, becoming financially independent, owning a beautiful home, traveling the world, or simply never stressing over bills again. Every single day. Those two versions of you compete for control. And the winner determines your financial future. Imagine you're shopping online late at night. You've had a stressful day. A notification appears. Limited time offer. Ends in 15 minutes. Suddenly, something changes. Your heart beats a little faster. You don't want to miss out. You start imagining how good the purchase will feel. You begin justifying it. I've worked hard. It's only a small purchase. I'll save more next month. I deserve this. Notice what happened. Nothing about your income changed. Nothing about your financial goals changed. Only your emotions changed. And yet, your decision changed too. This is exactly why marketers don't just sell products. They sell feelings, excitement, status, convenience, belonging, identity. Because human beings rarely spend money for practical reasons alone. They spend money because of the story attached to it. A simple watch isn't always about telling time. Sometimes it's about looking successful. A luxury